Welcome to the Silver and Black Show. And this week's overview brought to you by Hawaiian Airlines. Jim and I get you ready for a matchup against the Cincinnati Bengals. Journeyman Lee Smith joins me in studio, and Chris Townsend sits down with head coach John Gruden to break down some film. All that and more on the Silver and Black Show, starting right now.
Just like to wish Reggie McKenzie the best, and he's a good friend of mine. He's always going to be a Raider, and we're going to have to rebuild this football team without him, but I will assure the Raider fans that we'll do everything we can to find the right replacement. He's left some big shoes to fill, and just want to wish him the best.
The Raiders part ways with Reggie McKenzie. Welcome to the Silver and Black Show. As always, I'm your host, Nicole Zalumis, alongside our two-time Super Bowl champion, Jim Plunkett. Before we look ahead to the game, Jim, let's look back at the time that Reggie McKenzie spent here. Came on in 2012. He's the second ever general manager, but in a lot of ways, he's the first one because it was after the passing of Al Davis. He was the Executive of the Year in 2016, drafted a franchise quarterback. When you think back to Reggie's time, what's your evaluation?
Well, I think Reggie came in, and there's no question he helped this team, this franchise, become a better ball club over his stay while he was here. Unfortunately, injuries to Derek Carr, Amari Cooper from time to time. A lot of the players he brought in, helped turn this franchise around, especially in 2016. They were very, very good. Derek Carr got hurt that year. It was not the same quarterback until recently, I don't believe. But it's John Gruden's team now. He's going to bring in the players that he feels can help this franchise win more football games, and that's all John Gruden is interested in right now.
Well, that franchise quarterback that he drafted leads us to our headlines. Return to form. Derek Carr increased his impressive no-interception streak to 262 pass attempts, which is only 73 behind the all-time record set by Tom Brady in 2010. Against the Steelers, he overcame two fourth-quarter deficits and routinely fit passes into non-existent windows. As his relationship continues to grow with his head coach, we're finally seeing the quarterback that we got used to in 2016. Jim, what impressed you the most from number 4 this past Sunday?
Well, only 73 behind Tom Brady. That's quite a bit, but still, I think Derek Carr is playing much better. He's staying in the pocket a little bit longer. He's getting the ball downfield more so that the receivers we do have can make big plays, and that's what's happening recently, especially in that game against Pittsburgh. I thought he did a great job. He was under a lot of pressure, 4 sacks, I believe, but yet, he stood in there as long as he could, found the right guy to go to. And you're right, he made some incredible throws where there didn't seem to be a window at all, but yet he squeezed it in there. And sometimes that's what you have to do. You got to be accurate, but you got to make the right choices as well. And, I think at times the offensive line has given him time to look over the field so he can make the right choice on which receiver to go to. And that's great. And I'm happy for Derek and, the entire football team.
Well, it's nice to see him comfortable out there, and he's going to have another opportunity to shine this weekend. Cincinnati struggles. After a 5-3 start, the Bengals have dropped 5 straight, and although injuries have played a big role, most of the blame seems to be geared toward the defense. The unit ranks last in yards per game and points per game. They're also one of 2 teams that has a third down percentage higher than 50%. Jim, how do you avoid complacency as an offense when facing a defense of this caliber?
Well, believe me, there's no complacency on this football team. Only 3 victories. I think they're going to be ready, prepared, ready to go. Cincinnati obviously has lost their last 5 games in a row, I believe. And, they're going to try to win this football game because they feel they have a chance. The Raiders feel they have a chance with the way that Cincinnati is struggling. But I think Gruden's going to get this team ready to go out there and play the best football they can because, if they don't play the best football they can, they're going to wind up losing. So, they're going to go out there, leave Pittsburgh game, behind and concentrate on Cincinnati all this week.
Well, for our final headline, why don't we focus on our defense? On the rise. An injury-plagued rookie campaign and new coaching staff the following offseason threaten the future of Garyon Conley in silver and black. But the former first-round pick has shown in the past few weeks why he was selected so high. Over the past 4 weeks, he's been graded out as top 10 in both coverage and rush defense. And last week, he batted a crucial pass in the air for Tahir Whitehead, who picked it off. Jim, how important is a shutdown corner to a defense? And do you see Garyon Conley stepping into that role?
Well, shutdown corners are few and far between. I think give a quarterback time, the receiver time to get open. It's difficult for anybody. And our defense has had a problem getting to the quarterback, number 1. But I think Garyon Conley is getting better week after week. But it's always about executing the defense, playing the defense called, and being in a position to make the plays. And that's what's happening for Garyon. He's learning the defense better and better, so he knows what to do in certain situations. And, you know, the more he does that, the better and more comfortable he comes with the defense, the more big plays he's going to make. And as I said, he's improving week after week.
Yeah, and I know that Raiders fans would like to see that draft pick pay off. Well, coming up here on the Silver and Black Show, head coach John Gruden sits down with Chris Townsend in the film room.
All right, Coach, we talked about it was going to be a big game, and it was a great win against your arch rival, the Pittsburgh Steelers.
It really was. Really proud of our team. We started fast on offense. I thought our defense played a very good football game, especially against the run.
No doubt about it. Let's go over some of these plays because you're playing 3 safeties here, and really the Steelers did not do much when you had this package in.
Yeah, it's a big nickel package, and Paul Gunther, our defensive coordinator, used a lot of line stunts, Chris. You can see 97. Clinton McDonald spike into the inside, and 90, Jonathan Hankins really played a great game for us. Look at that lateral pursuit at 330 pounds. And that might be mild, man, 340 maybe, but, you know, Hankins has come in here, Town. He played really good for us, but stopping the run gave us a chance in this game, and we did it throughout the game. I think we only gave up 50 rushing yards, and a lot of it came from this 3-safety package. But you got to remember, Gilchrist is not a safety. He's a nickel corner / safety, and we can use them in a lot of creative ways. But line movement up front, I think, led to some things. And here's a beautiful play by Conley on the tip, and the ball's intercepted by Whitehead. And that's something that Gunther does a great job of, teaching his players to finish the play. As soon as that ball leaves Dobbs' hand, what should Whitehead do?
What should he do?
What should he do? As soon as that ball leaves his hand, finish the play, right?
Yeah, well, yeah.
That's just good hustle.
But the thing about Conley is he's graded out as one of the best corners in all of football in the last 4 games.
Well, it's a credit to Conley, who's gone through a lot with his injuries. He's just a young player. He's playing with great confidence, and he's going up against Antonio Brown, perhaps the best receiver in all of football. So this is a great sign coming from our defense. But it's a credit to Conley. It's also, I think, a great play by Tyre Whitehead, number 59, who had 10 tackles, made a great stop on 4th and 1, and just hustles to the football and gets this deflection to set us up for some points.
I remember you were saying early on, you need to see Conley on the field. You need to see contact. You need to see him play. And what we're seeing now is when he was drafted in the first round, we're now seeing why he was drafted in the first round, the great skills that he has.
No doubt. He can play press coverage. He's improved as a tackler. He's been durable. But I think I've said it 3 or 4 or 5 times. The improvement in Conley has come in his preparation, in the practice field, in the meeting rooms. He's preparing himself to play at a high level on Sundays, and that's one of the things that I like about Conley. He's a combination of a lot of things, and that's a great picture right there. One of the all-time great Raiders,
no doubt,
Lester Hayes, talking to our young corner, and that's what it was like here the last time I was here. We had a guy named Charles Woodson, a young corner who got better and better, and to have Willie Brown and Lester Hayes and Mike Haynes coming to the games, counseling these guys is awesome. Yeah.
Villapiano was there.
Villapiano had Franco Harris, I told you.
Exactly, yeah. And of course, George Atkinson. What does it mean to have these great Raiders who are so a part of this history, have them around your guys so they get to talk to them, get to see them?
Yeah, I credit Mark Davis, Al Davis, for that. He's really proud of the silver and black. And if you're once a Raider, he always says that you're always a Raider. So you see guys from all different decades coming back to be with the silver and black, and it's special.
Yeah, it is. How about this? This is the drive that made it all happen.
Well, this throw here epitomizes what we've been talking about with Carr. This is a route we call Topeka. Don't ask me why. But we're trying to get Cook at the top of the screen, and they have distinctly doubled him. Finally, Pittsburgh has taken Cook out of the game. So we got to go someplace else. And Seth Roberts, right down the hash mark against Morgan Burnett, is running a seam route. And you cannot throw the ball any better, and Seth Roberts goes and gets it to set this win up. But what a great job by Derek Carr, recognizing the double on Cook and seeing that he has a safety running with Seth Roberts right down the hash mark. And how about the pass protection? Watch Gabe Jackson at right guard against T.J. Watt. Now that's good stuff. That is good stuff. You got a rookie left tackle, Colton Miller. Feliciano's in there, backing up Osemele at left guard. And we're blocking 2 of the best Pittsburgh Steelers when they need it the most. And Carr does a phenomenal job laying this in there, and Seth goes and gets it.
I mean, it doesn't get any better than that.
Doesn't get any better than that. And the trajectory of the throw, the perfect spiral. That's how I used to do it at Dayton right there.
Yeah, we're going to get into that.
Yeah, no, I hope not. But here it is, 4th and 6.
It's all for all. This is it, right?
This is it. And what you got to know about this play, Townie, is our left guard, John Feliciano, has torn his calf muscle. Feliciano's out for the year. He got hurt 2 plays earlier. Gabe is hurt. So he's going to play this play with one arm, and Feliciano's going to play this play with one leg. And what does that tell you about how hard these guys are playing? And this is a route where we're trying to get Jordy Nelson on a double move at the bottom of the screen. They double Jordy, so Carrier gets the one-on-one and he wins on a little China route, we call it. And that's a game-winning touchdown pass. And just look at the left guard. You can see him hopping on one leg, 76. And you look at the right guard, 66. He's got one arm right here. He's using one arm to block Stephon Tuitt, one of the best in football. I'm so proud of this play and this comeback. I think it sets the stage for some really special things ahead for the Raiders.
Let's talk about this, though. You came sprinting by me, and I saw you go up, and we were talking about this on the Raiders radio network. How special was that, the black hole and a big win?
Yeah, this is my family right here. I mean, this is the reason I'm coaching. And I honestly didn't come back for any other reason to try to help the Raiders back to where they need to go. And to share that moment with these fans in the black hole is it still fires me up. And there were a few Steeler fans who were giving me a hard time. I wanted to make sure I saw them too.
Oh, yeah. It was a special moment. And then the next thing you know, you're walking with the Raiderettes. It was great. But look at this. I didn't know Chuck Noll was a Dayton Flyer.
A lot of Dayton Flyers came through there. Those were some of the great days in my life. And, you know, when we won the Super Bowl, I got invited back for a dinner at Dayton, and Chuck Noll was there.
Wow.
And it's a proud place. I know my old head coach, Mike Kelly, who's in the College Football Hall of Fame, is going to be at the game Sunday. I'm looking forward to seeing him.
Well, that's 5 Super Bowl titles for Dayton Flyers there as head coaches?
Yeah, John McVay, the old GM of the 49ers, is a Dayton Flyer. He's got 3 Super Bowl rings, so I need to get another one.
Yeah, let's get another one. Well, it's going to be a good one. We're heading to Cincinnati. We're on to Cincinnati, as was once said by Bill Belichick.
Yes, it is. I'll see you there.
Good luck, Coach.
Thanks, Johnny. Appreciate you.
After a big win against the Steelers featuring a standout performance from number 86, I caught up with Lee Smith and this week's Raiders Spotlight. Lee, you hail from Tennessee. You're out here on the West Coast. Tell me the difference between Tennessee and Northern California.
It's definitely a lot different than home, right? But at the same time, my family loves it here. If I ever tried to kind of move on and play somewhere else, my wife and kids wouldn't be happy. They get to play outside year-round. My kids love their school over in Dublin. So it's great. People are great. Obviously, cost of living and taxes and all that fun stuff is a little different than the country where I grew up. But we love it here. My family loves it here, and we're glad to be here.
And oftentimes you don't see the entire family come out for the season and then go back to their home during the off season, but that's what you do with your 4 kids. What are the ages and what's going on in your household right now?
Well, there's never a dull moment in my household, that's for sure. And my wife will tell you I'm the biggest kid out of all of us for sure.
Okay, so there's 5 kids.
Yes,
gotcha.
Yes, 5. I could probably count for 2, really. I like to have a lot of fun at home, and like I said, there's never a dull moment, so my poor wife has to put up with all of us. But yeah, there's no way I could, you know, to each his own. Everybody does things differently, but I wouldn't do well without my family around. So my whole career, we've gone half and half. So they go to school here in the fall, and they go to school back home in the spring semester, and the transition always works great. So it's fun. It's a great gig. It's a great lifestyle. It's all my children know. It's kind of all me and Alicia have known since we've been married. It's all been football. So she's chased me all over the country and supported me since day one. So I got an awesome crew at home.
Well, your whole life, I mean, you were born into a football family with your father, Daryl, having played for the Cowboys. What was that like, seeing your dad play in the NFL?
You know, my son is 10. He'll be 11 in a few months. So he's finally, you know, he really gets it. I'm not his favorite player anymore. You know, he gets the whole football deal. He understands that he's a pro football player's son, right? When I was little, my dad retired when I was like 6. So I understood that my dad played in the NFL as I got older, and you know, all the kids around town kind of thought it was cool that my dad was an ex-ball player, and I definitely remember that. But it's so much different for my kids because they're getting to be pretty old. I mean, my son will be in middle school next year, so it's pretty cool having your old man playing in the NFL when you're a middle school student. All the kids seem to enjoy it, so it's awesome. Yeah, I've been around football my whole life. I was born my dad's rookie season. And obviously now I have kiddos living this dream, so football's been a big part of my family forever, that's for sure.
Well, are they playing now? What is it like seeing your sons play any sport, and what type of feedback do you give them?
I'm not the biggest fan of Little League parents, to say the least, so my butt sits in the outfield by myself.
Oh, you're that guy.
Yeah, I'm that guy. I'm that guy that stays away from all the other parents. All the parents are my friends, and I love them, don't get me wrong, but talking sports with the Little League parents of the world isn't exactly my favorite pastime.
I wish I was that person. I'm the one that's screaming on the sideline and can't contain themselves.
Yep, that's my wife. I stay away from her too during the Little League sports.
You also have a great relationship with your quarterback, Derek Carr. Tell me a little bit about that relationship.
Well, when I got here the first time I hit free agency and I came out here to play, Derek was going into his second year, I think. And Todd Downing is a good friend of mine, and you know, me and TD sat down and talked, and he told me just how special he thought Derek was and what a bright future he thought Derek was going to have. Like I've said it before, Derek Carr is the best human being I've ever known, and I'm crazy as hell. So the fact that we have been able to bond like we have is a little bit like yin and yang, but I love that dude. I want him to be my quarterback my whole career. I want to continue to try to protect him, and think he's a guy that's going to play as long as he wants to play and have a ton of success. I mean, he's had, what, 4 coordinators in 5 years, and he just keeps setting records. So it's special. He's a special player. Him and Gruden are finally getting on the same page. That's very obvious, and it's a lot of fun to watch him.
Lobs middle, touchdown, Lee Smith!
You guys also have fun together. I keep seeing that highlight in the end zone where you're embracing and playing hot potato of some sort. Was that a choreographed routine?
No, there's nothing choreographed with me, right? I kind of just try to go off emotion. Found Rodney and let him spike it in my first touchdown. But the O-line room, I think it cost Rodney a little bit in a fine when he spiked that ball. They don't like the getting the attention, right? They're just supposed to be the grinders. So all the linemen gave Rodney a pretty hefty fine, I think, for spiking the ball. So once I gave it to Feliciano this week, he didn't want it. So the linemen were just trying to get rid of it so they wouldn't get fined by their buddies in their room. And then it finally got back to Derek, and he hammered it. So it was a lot of fun. It was no choreographed, but it was fun how it all worked out.
Lee, what does it mean wearing the silver and black?
Based off of the way I play, I've always kind of been the lunch pail guy that does the dirty work, which I love, don't get me wrong. Jared's the bell cow. I love watching Jared have all the success, and I can just kind of hide in the background and score touchdowns because no one's looking for me, right? So this is always a team that I thought that I would love to play for. The Raiders, the Steelers, you know, all those teams that brand you look at and it's just tough football. The Lyle Alzaidos of the world, you know, people that aren't going to take crap from anybody. So I always loved the Raiders growing up. I've always thought that to be a place that I would love to play, and I'm glad I'm here, and I will proudly hang that black jersey, you know, in my home and leave it there forever.
Quarterback has done a nice job of protecting the football all season long, and doesn't put them at risk that way. You know, they really did a nice job. I thought it was impressive, you know, in the game against Pittsburgh. They just kept playing all the way through the game, you know. They were down a little bit in the game. They made plays, drove the ball, scored, came back, stopped them, you know, did a nice job, converted 2 4th downs there late in the game. So big plays throughout.
The Raiders look to make it 2 in a row. Welcome back to the Silver and Black Show. They're looking to make it 2 in a row against the Bengals. The Bengals, they're injury plagued right now, but they did go down to the wire in Los Angeles against the Chargers. What's the biggest challenge when you face a Marvin Lewis-led team?
Well, as you know, Marvin Lewis is a well-respected and a very good coach for Cincinnati, and has been for a number of years. But a couple of things, getting up and ready for the game shouldn't be difficult for the Raiders. You know, they've only won 3 games. They're coming off a great victory, but they have to put that behind them and concentrate on Cincinnati. It's going to be a tough game. Cincinnati feels they can beat the Raiders. The Raiders, you know, have a chance to win their second game of the year, and, you know, hopefully that's what they'll be able to pull off.
When you face a team that has their 2 stars out, and A.J. Green and Andy Dalton, what are the challenges that the Raiders have in game planning?
Well, so, you know, sometimes when you have new players in, quarterback in particular, you know, you don't know their tendencies because you haven't seen them play too much, and sometimes they surprise you by doing things that Andy Dalton would never have done. But on the other hand, you know, it's a guy who hasn't played a lot. They're going to probably try and pressure him, make him make mistakes, and hopefully get some more turnovers that will help this Raider team win.
So usually we focus on rapid fire here, but I want to look at the weather because they're traveling east late in the season, and it's going to be cold out there, low 40s, Jim. What challenges do they face?
I don't know yet until, you know, game day comes and what the weather's going to be like, but these guys are professionals. They're paid to do a job, so they're going to go out and, you know, attempt to do the best possible job they can do. But if it's rainy, snowy, sleety, those things are hopefully being professionals, they'll be prepared for. But it's not always easy. If you're throwing against the wind, it's hard to complete passes. If you're throwing with the wind, you can throw longer passes down the field. But as they always say in sports, especially in football, it's the same weather on both sides of the football. So they're going to have to contend with it also.
Well, I'm sure you've played in a lot of games with cold weather. What challenges did you face as a quarterback?
Well, I'm a California guy, playing my first game in the snow, the sleet, the hail. It wasn't a whole lot of fun, but, you learn to adapt. I never wore gloves as some quarterbacks do. But, I try to keep warm as much as possible, keep my hands warm with a hand warmer, and things like that. And sometimes, you throw a little shorter passes to get started, to get the feel for the weather. You don't want to put the ball down the field and have it blow back at you and, get picked off. So those are the things you're going to have to feel out as they warm up, getting ready for the game. But, it's a job that they can, fully carry out, and they intend to. They hope to have a real good game against Cincinnati.
So you don't think it's going to be that big of a factor?
Depends on the weather. I don't know what it is.
All right, that's going to do it for this edition of the Silver and Black Show. Make sure you join us next week for a Christmas Eve affair as the Raiders are back home hosting the Broncos. On behalf of Lee Smith, John Gruden, and all of us here at Silver and Black Productions, I'm Nicole Zalumis. Thanks for watching.